Let's talk to the Eagles head coach, Nick Sirianni. He is brought to us by Bud Light. Join Ava Graham at the Urban Saloon this Friday night for an Eagles pep rally. Meet a current Eagles player, swoop, and you can win tickets to the next Eagles home game, which, of course, is the Eagles and Giants on Christmas Day. We welcome the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni, to the show. Good morning, Nick.
Hey, morning, guys.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, Nick.
So, Nick, a lot going on, obviously, and let's get to it here. I think perhaps the biggest thing people are trying to figure out, I know we are, and struggling to figure out, is how the offense last year could be so dominant, while this year, with almost the same starters, be so much less dominant. Do you have a theory as to why this is occurring?
Yeah, obviously we haven't met our standard here the last 3 weeks of the season, and I think that you're judged on the your previous games. So that is a fair criticism, and we're working to make sure that we figure it out, because we know we have the right people in this building to figure it out. Right, we have the right players. We got phenomenal players. We got great playmakers at all levels: running backs, quarterback, receivers, and then we have a dominant offensive line. So we just got to figure out and find the right buttons to hit, and we're in a little bit of a slump right now. There is no doubt, and we got to pull ourselves out of it. And like I said, to get into any little different things that we're going to do, it'd be probably not smart of me to give that information out. But we're constantly adjusting. We're constantly trying to figure out ways to get our guys to make plays, and that starts with me as the coach.
Nick, you said something yesterday, and you probably didn't mean it literally this way, but you said, and this is a quote, "This offense is being run this year the exact same way as it was being run last year and the year before that." Now, I know you don't run like literally the exact same plays in the same sequence and all that, but
Sure.
Do you feel that in hindsight it has been too similar to the last 2 years? Defenses have caught up to that, and it's time for a big counterpunch to throw defenses off and get your offense jump-started.
Yeah, obviously you have counters to the things you're doing too, right? And you have staple plays that you're going to want to run continuously, and then you have complements to that. And so, again, it's a similar scheme. It's everything is very, very similar, and to say exact same. All right, yeah, it's the same people that are coming up with the plan. It's and obviously the only thing is that's a little different is the guy calling the plays in, and so. But I still really believe that Brian's done a great job. We're in a little bit of a dry spell right now, and we'll come out of it because we got the right guys to come out of it. And so, exactly the same. No, there's obviously changes that happen throughout each year, but you also have identities too. And we have a certain identity that we play with. Like I said, it hasn't been. We haven't coached well enough the last 3 weeks. We haven't played well enough in the last 3 weeks, and that's why we're sitting where we are right now. But I do believe, again, in all the people that are in this building and the players and the coaches, and that we're going to get this turned around.
How
Great
hard
opportunity for us this week.
Nick, how hard is it to expand the offense and open things up, get more creative at this point of the year? Do we have enough time to rework this?
Yeah, and again, you want to continue to get things that you do well. There is portions of us that have, we're still searching a little bit for some identity things, but there's a big portion of it that we have identity, and we're going to continue to run those things. But there are some different things that that we can do, and we're going to try to do to make to get out of this slump that we're in. And again, that starts with me, and so. You can definitely have different complement things to the things that you're doing and the things you're doing well, and that's where we are right now.
Nick Sirianni here with us. Nick, one of the things a lot of people have been calling for, myself included, is putting Jaylen under center gives you greater flexibility to run different types of plays, different run structures, bootlegs, and things of that nature. And I'm curious, is Jaylen's lack of utilization under center while in high school, college, and the pros a factor and a concern for you that prevents you from putting him under center much other than for quarterback sneaks?
No, Jaylen can do he can do anything. All right, he can play from under center. He can play from the gun. I'm not so sure he couldn't play wide. He can do some things at wide receiver or whatever. He's a special player. But again, there's parts of you that have an identity. Like I think what is sure, it's easy to say go under center or go in the gun if you're an under center team. One thing that we know is that the backside of defenses are completely frozen by Jaylen. And this isn't something that you see and really can always point out, but the backside of defenses when we are in the gun with the Jaylen having the option to, and you say bootleg, but, having the option to hold the ball on a zone read, it can freeze the backside. And it does a lot of the times it freezes the backside where it opens up different things, in the running game and then also in the RPO game and also in our RPR game. And so, that's an advantage that we have because of the style of quarterback, Jaylen is. Can he go under center? Sure, because he's a great football player and he can do anything. And, but, that's where our identity is and what we do and the counters that we have off of the plays that we're running are, from the gun.
But what if it's not? But Nick, what if it's not? What if it's not working though?
To switch it up, to go under center. Again, it's not. You don't put guys in positions. You always try to put the guys in positions to completely make the plays that are available to them, and that's what we're doing. We're doing the things that we're doing is what we believe they're putting our guys in the best positions to make plays.
Nick, do you have any concerns about Jaylen? Do you think he's having a crisis of confidence right now?
I don't. I don't. 3 weeks ago, going into that San Francisco game, I really believe that he was, and everybody I think that I ever heard about was he's number one in the MVP race, right? And so are we all in a dry spell right now as an offense? Yeah. And then we've already talked about that. We got to get ourselves out of that rut. But I thought he did some really good things in the game last week. And I thought he did some really good things in the game against Dallas, where he was delivering the ball where it needed to go. He was accurate with throws, and I thought he was, again, Jaylen's going to get a lot of criticism, and because when we don't win, and that's just it. And I'm going to get a lot of criticism when we don't win. We know what we signed up for, but I do believe that he's playing good football, and not even going back to the San Francisco game. That was so long ago. I'm not even thinking about that. But I do think he's put two good products on the field the last two games, and we're gonna grow from this.
Nick, how much are you feeling the heat?
Yeah, obviously I know what the standard is and what the expectation is. Nobody's standard or expectations higher for our team than myself, and that's just the fact. We live it, and we're here every day, and there's nobody's expectation that's as high as ours, and who puts this much time into it as the players that we have in this building. Again, this is part of my job and I understand it, and there's going to be criticism when we lose, and and that's just the way it is. And so I don't feel heat with that. I just feel like, hey, we got to play to our standard, and it's my job, and we got to coach to our standard, and it's my job. And I'm the first one that needs to be looked at. It's my job to make sure that we're doing that.
Nick, we have spent a couple of days trying to figure out Jaylen's intent behind his use of the word commitment after Monday's game. How did you interpret his use of that word Monday when talking about his teammates?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak for Jaylen on anything like that, but I know he knows that this team is committed. This team is committed to doing everything it needs to do to get this thing going. And really, as we say that, like we say, recommit yourself to the core values, recommit yourself and doubling down on the things you know to be true when you're in adversity. So so you'd have to ask him with that, but that's what I know, and I know and believe that Jaylen's committed wholeheartedly, that the players are committed wholeheartedly, and that the coaches are committed wholeheartedly to get this thing right, and to because we got a great opportunity ahead of us to go and win this next game. We know we got a team that's coming in here that's a good football team that has had a spark going on, and we gotta do what we need to do to get ourselves better. And I know that everybody in their hearts knows that this is a committed team to getting it done and getting off this dry spell and getting back into getting a win this weekend.
How does your defensive philosophy mesh with Matt Patricia's?
Yeah, again, I'm with my defensive philosophy, I look at it a lot as an offensive point of view, like what's tough for the offense, what's tough for, what are looks that they give us that are challenging, all those different things. And so, there's a lot. He's maybe one of the best defensive coordinators of all time. Look at his track record; it speaks for itself. And so he's got a wealth of knowledge. He's got great detail, and I say that all knowing that he's gonna do a great job. I thought we played really good on defense on Monday. I know with the exception of our last drive, obviously we got to be better in the situation right there in 2 minutes. But I say all that about Matt and how much confidence I have in him and what he's done in the Super Bowls he's won and the AFC championships he's played in as the defensive coordinator. But also saying, Sean's helping, and is a real big part of this as well. I really believe Sean Desai has handled this better than I think that I could ever imagine anybody handling it, knowing how much he would handle this better than I would handle this. He really shows great character of who he is as a person, that he's just grinding and trying to help this team win still. And he was great on the headsets. He was great in the locker room. So I got a lot of confidence in those two guys and the defensive staff of continuing to help our defense play well.
How much more flexibility does Matt Patricia get to call things his way because of his expansive resume and experience compared to Sean Desai?
They both have, again, I have things that if you're referencing like that, they call it their way. Sean called it his way. Matt's going to call it his way. There are definitely things. There are things that I have visions for on the defense, but that's, those are some things sprinkled in. And again, on the offensive point of view, hey, this would be hard. This would be hard. I want to do this in this scenario. But I also hired those guys to do a job, and they're in charge of and having the flexibility to do what they need to do to help us win.
Nick Sirianni here. Nick, let's talk about team chemistry and culture, which has just been a huge thing for you guys in recent years. And in recent weeks, it has felt, from my perspective on the outside, different than the first 2.5 years. Some anonymous quotes, what I think can be called leaks, some Twitter battles. Are you concerned about the culture of your football team and a certain fraying as losing has set in?
I think that exactly what we're going through this losing streak right now, I think that's challenging. It is a challenging thing. And when you're going through challenges, it's really important that you're connected as a football team. And because connection is great. Connection's great in the sense of, hey, we're going to have fun. We're out there winning. We're having fun together, right? It's a joy to come in the building every single day. And when it's a joy to come in the building every single day, you're just naturally going to get better because you crave to go in the building. When you're connected to somebody, you're going to go a little bit harder for that person than you would if you weren't connected. But really where connection comes in the most is when you're going through adversity, that you bond together, that you lock arms together and fight through adversity. That doesn't mean there isn't moments of adversity where there's some times where you're like, shoot, I wish we had that time back, or we wish we had that time back, but because that's what happens in adversity. But you try to build these connecting points as much as you possibly can going into a season and throughout a season. So because it's granted, you're going to go through hard times. Name me a team in this league that hasn't went through a hard time this year. We all have, and we're going through ours right now. To think back on last year's team, we went through a hard time at the end of last season, right? We lost to the Cowboys, we lost to and I kind of find parallels to this. Lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Saints, and then barely beat a team that was playing their backups the last game to clinch the 1 seed. And so, yeah, teams go through tough times, and that's why it's so important that you're connected. So at least in these tough times, you can fight through them and be out and be there together. And I do believe that in this team that they've worked hard to be together.
Nick, do you feel confident the team's going to get back on track?
I'm confident we're doing everything we can do to get the team back on track, and I know we have the right people in this building to get back on track. So, yes, I feel confident in that because of the people that we have and the work ethic that the guys on this team have and the coaches on this team have. And so I feel confident because of the people.
Nick, you know the deal as a head coach. Different times, different types of interviews, more fun, more probing at times, depending on circumstances, but it never changes the reality of a Merry Christmas to you and your family, and an absolute best of luck to your squad Christmas Day, trying to get win number 11, and I hope you get some joy this holiday season, spending some time with your family as well.
Hey, I appreciate that. That means a lot. Merry Christmas to you guys, too, and all the fans out there. Merry Christmas.
All right, thank you, Nick.
Nick.
Good luck on Monday.
All right, John.
All right, take care. There he is, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni.